sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
I just choked down chocolate chip cookies and Grandpa's femur. Femur.
We make money now?
No, we had to pay
So
them.
this episode, it's just too slippery. I'm slicing everything.
Every time I swing my 5-iron, it goes up that guy's ass.
Welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's your host, Jim and Foo.
To the Sad Dads Club podcast.
Wow, you boned it.
Cut.
Cut. Ready? Take two. Sad Dads Club podcast. Take two. Ready? And
Welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast.
oh my God, you stumbled.
And go. Welcome to the show, everyone.
I feel like we've been here before, like within the last 15 to 20 seconds.
No, we are.
Nah.
We are, of course, the Sad Dads,
We're first take Jims.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just can't talk.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
I'm Foo.
I'm Jim, and hopefully we can entertain you for the next hour.
Yeah, episode 77.
77. Man, I'm just
Yeah.
always surprised every time. Every week I get surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we've made it this far.
I don't think.
Like, the
We had
coronavirus hasn't killed us off.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's working hard, though.
It's trying.
It is.
It's like,
Right?
how do I get over there? I'm trying to get over there.
To what?
The
The
virus. No, the virus
Oh
is
yeah,
saying that.
it's doing
It's
its
like, I got to get me over there.
it's doing its damnedest.
Yeah.
And the more people they test, the more
Well, what's crazy about all this stuff is, like, we always have stuff we want to talk about for the show.
Right.
And then there's so much stuff happening that's not even necessarily stuff that we wanted to necessarily talk about. There's so much happening we have to talk about
Yeah.
that we don't get to the stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah.
That's
Are
crazy.
you telecommuting yet?
No. You know what? It would be hard for me to be able to have the kind of equipment I need for testing.
Right. So you would fall into the bracket of, if your company said we're going into the social distancing, you would be either forced to take PTO or you would be losing pay
Well,
if the company decided
I don't think it's impossible for me to work from home.
you could take some equipment perhaps.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
they
I
would
could-
allow you to
There's people at work that have stuff at home.
do some time.
They actually have room for that kind of thing. I don't really necessarily have room, but
You could work on something.
yeah, I could work on something for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, I mean, because, some of the pieces of equipment that I need for testing and, like, signal processing and stuff, they're like $15,000-$20,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And
you wouldn't necessarily have any place to put that anyway.
well, I would figure it out if I had to.
I think most of
You
these
know?
people are shooting for like April, end of April for a lot of because it's got a 14-day incubation.
Gestation?
Yeah, it's like if you came in contact and you didn't get it within the 14 days, you're kind of circled. So a lot of the social distancing things are, starting now, and we'll circle back in mid-April if people are not walking around as.
Well, I mean, I understand the concept behind all of the rules that are being put into not rules, but all of the decisions that are being put into place regarding
Heavy recommendations.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I guess if you're not coalescing with other folks, then
Right.
you're
I'm a pro at social distancing. I'm like, hey,
For
if
sure.
anyone wants like a how-to manual,
you are already
Yeah.
like cordoned off in your own house.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like
without
I
even
played
trying.
99.999% of my Ingress career under the umbrella of social distancing.
That's for sure. Well, I mean, I did a lot of that too, to be honest, but
Catch me, bitches.
I mean, I get it. If you just don't, if you don't make people get together, then they're not going to be spreading stuff to each other. And in theory, you're going to be capping the number of people that can get in contact with it.
Right. And it's even within our own state, there are varying degrees of how some of the counties are approaching it. Sacramento County is no longer telling people to self-quarantine. They're essentially like, go nuts. Whereas
nuts, what do you mean by that? Like they don't care?
Like they're not recommending.
There's no activity.
Yeah.
Active.
I think there are. They're just like, it's out there. If we really want you to pay attention to mitigating you catching it, and if you've got it, it was a very bizarre statement, whereas San Francisco is much more like stringent. They're like gatherings of X amount of people or more. Nope, done.
Right.
Los Angeles, they went through with the Los Angeles Marathon. Yeah. Whereas New York and Boston both have parades and I think half marathons this weekend, and they canned theirs. We have Sacramento. There's a Shamrock half marathon on Sunday and the 5K on Saturday.
Are they still doing it?
So far, they are still doing it. So far, I am still signed up.
Oh, are you going to do it if it's going?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's crazy because like my work heavily relies on for marketing and sales. Our biggest trade show of the year, which is in Vegas in April every year. So we pulled out of that show,
right?
Which is crazy alone,
right?
And I think we were the biggest company or one of the first bigger companies to like pull out.
And we had this
proactive.
Like I'm like, that's proactive.
Yeah.
Like you guys did it early enough. Yeah. And if there are any other people listening, I was all for it because I think it allows the company to call its shot.
Yeah.
And come up with a reasonable replacement to still get your marketing and your product or whatever you wanted to announce in some form or fashion on your own terms, as opposed to being behind the 8 ball as NAB just killed it.
Well, yeah, all of our product announcement stuff is always tied to the show.
Yeah.
And what here's even nuttier is, so fast forward a couple days after we pulled out, then we start hearing about other companies like Nikon's pulling out and all these other companies. Mm-hmm. And then today, the show just decided we're canceling the show. So there is no show this year.
Right. So you can. When was it?
It was like the 18th
of April or March.
Yeah, of April.
Oh, so they're way proactive themselves.
Yeah. And I got to be honest. I mean, I'm one of the people that goes to the show, and I work a demo station, and I talk about products with people all day long.
Yeah, I've seen it. You're in the suck of people.
And it's
meet and
you're
greet.
Busy, especially when you have a new product to show. Yeah. You get drilled. And I have to admit, I was kind of coming up to the show, kind of in my mind thinking,
am I wearing purple gloves and a hazmat suit?
Yeah, like, well, this could be kind of scary, I guess. You know, like, I mean, I'll just do my thing, but, I mean, I'm not going to wear a mask or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. That just wouldn't be.
And the NAB, too, is unlike a much more localized or regionalized convention or con. NAB is a global thing. So you are pulling customers, reps, businesses globally, especially from the Asian markets to the States.
Yep.
So where there's already probably, well, I would be.
I mean, I talked to customers from
There's
Korea,
a large contingent
China,
that would be coming over.
Yeah. Japan.
And some of those countries are already, dealing with their own implications of the virus in various stages of containment. Mm-hmm. But there would be an increased potentiality. Yeah. Now, Ted, #HiTed, Ted's going to on the East Coast, like a IEEE convention in Raleigh, North Carolina. Uh-huh. I keep refreshing that to see if they're, because that's another one of those the IEEE, they tend to have pretty large tendrils in global as well.
Oh yeah.
But being in Raleigh, maybe it's just like a smaller scope, but I'm not quite sure. That to me is still, I would see a lot of European participation in an IEEE convention. They're still going too, and they start, actually, I think they start tomorrow. So,
well, I think what's crazy about it is you think about the money part of it.
Right.
I mean, number one, I had to cancel my flights that I had already bought for the show.
You get comp for that, though, don't you?
Well, I mean, no. I mean, the company paid for the tickets.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But, I mean, I'm just saying that, like, I mean, I'll have credit on my thing, but the company paid for tickets. So that's an entire company's worth of plane tickets that got canceled, whoever already bought them.
And whatever your guys' deposit, if anything, gets refunded, which doesn't sound like...
Well, we typically fly Southwest because it's just a hopper flight. But depending on which flight fare type you purchase, you either can get a refund, or if it's just the one getaway fare, which is what I ended up getting, you just get credit. So I have credit on my thing now, and then on top of that, all of our hotel rooms are booked at the same place every year, and we book them the year prior for the next show.
Mm-hmm.
So they're booked way in advance.
Right.
And I don't know. I wonder how they're dealing with that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money in hotel rooms alone.
Yeah.
And then from the show standpoint, they canceled. So the show has canceled the show.
Right.
So it's not like people are going to be there. The show is just canceled. There won't be one.
Right.
So people have millions of dollars. Every company has millions of dollars invested in booth space, just the space, renting space.
Right.
All of the booth stuff where you have to develop your booth and have it built and then shipped in.
That trickles out
Oh
to
my
like
God.
subcontractors of subcontractors.
The union guys that are like, you have to pay to build your booth, to do electrical, to hang signs, to do lighting. Those are all different people that you have to deal with at the union at the trade show to do all this work for you. They're not going to get paid because there's no show. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And then you start to understand that maybe the stock market was a little bit ahead of where it needed to be when it started crashing. But there are, I mean, that's very widespread.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all the stuff that it touches.
Yeah.
I mean, even just in Vegas alone, the number of hotel rooms that are going to go away is in the thousands, tens of thousands, minimally.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge show.
Yeah.
Like
literally tens of thousands of hotel rooms.
Yeah.
And that's just probably people going to visit the show. That's not even including all of the people who are exhibitors.
They canceled, I think, yesterday, E3.
Yeah.
I mean, so as far as gaming and whatnot, electronics, they can that too.
That's
I mean,
amazing. And everything seems to be changing by the hour. We found out today that both Sac State and my daughter's school have gone to all online classes. And so it's kind of like this thing where it's like, how does this work?
Are they rolling into spring break, so they're going to get a little bit of a chance for the administration to kind of cobble something together?
I don't know.
When is spring break for the kids?
I don't remember.
I think ours are next week.
I think I don't remember. I think Millie's like 2 weeks or something, and I think Sac State and like Fullerton are different as far as when they take their breaks. They always seem to be different. But it's just crazy. It's just, I mean, this is just talking about like something that I'm looking at is, and then even today there was an email corporate talking about restrictions on air travel.
Yeah.
And it was like only if it's approved by the CEO in certain cases, only if it's approved by, a lead person. And, I mean,
and when you come back, you need to get sandblasted.
Well, another person that I know that works for a prominent camera company, I'm not going to say who it is.
Fuck, don't say that.
He was telling me that they have a policy in place now where if you travel not for the company, that you have to stay away from the company for 14 days. So say you're on
Yeah.
vacation,
Yeah.
and you go on vacation for a week,
Right.
and you fly somewhere and come back. Now you have to wait 14 days to go back to work.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just the amount of things that it's touching is
Yeah.
kind of incredible.
But we saw that the NBA suspended the season was the last tweet that I saw.
That's
I know
amazing.
that we've got, as far as civics goes, both the Democratic campaigns are suspending most of their campaign rallies. I don't know if our current
Wow.
POTUS was postponing his.
Doesn't matter.
But he's going to win anyway, right? But a lot of the Democratic sides were going to either cancel or move like their platform to like a live projector, like a town hall but digital kind of thing for people to participate, but not go to a crowd anymore.
Yeah.
It's widespread.
It's crazy. Because, I mean, initially our plan at work was to not go to the show, and the show was probably going to go on, we assume. But instead of being at the show, we would do like streaming stuff for all of our announcements and things like that. But now that there's no show, I kind of wonder what that does for deadlines and things, or for something that doesn't exist really now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not tied to a date and time of any kind, because
you
there's
guys
nothing
usually
that
go
exists.
through, as long as I've known you, relative to NAB, you guys go through what is familiar to me in the gaming world as like the crunch.
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
there's a either hardware release or software release that you guys will typically announce for the show, and going up into the show, you are always like balls to the walls.
Yeah.
Like there's a crunch, that it's all hands on deck up there at the company, and
Yeah.
you can tell that you guys are trying to push. So it's interesting to see now that you don't have that, if you have a virtual announcement that's not actually potentially, unless you're actually displaying something and showing it in your, however you guys are going to present it digitally, you're almost afforded wiggle room. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be
the crunch.
It would like be our own set deadline.
Right. You guys are, self-imposed, but for no.
Now, this kind of reminds me of so Apple used to be really prominent at these shows. Apple had a huge booth, and they were a part of the AV way back in the day.
Were they?
Yeah, they used to be at the shows.
I don't think I remember that
there
one
used
time
to
I
be
went there. I don't think I remember seeing it.
Macworld San Francisco, Macworld Boston, Apple Expo. Apple went to all these trade shows. And then one year, it was shortly after they kind of started opening their own Apple stores. They just said, we're done with trade shows. Well, they were heavily tied to doing announcements at the shows. So Macworld San Francisco came around. They wanted to announce the new shit at the show. And so now they don't do any shows.
Right.
So they announce whenever they want to do it. So they're like, okay, they just plan in the future for, a big announcement. And we're going to have it on this day, and that'll be the day that we do it.
Yeah.
And that's just our own deadline. And they don't adhere to any trade show announcements or strategy whatsoever. None of their marketing is tied to trade shows. And that's kind of like where we're at now. Like at this point, there'll be a show next year, and we'll do IBC probably this coming September, whenever it is, which is a big show in Amsterdam. We'll do that. But right now, it's sort of like... I mean, it's...
I saw an interesting
crazy.
thing a ways back, because as far as what I'm more familiar with outside of you is the gaming industry. So a lot of the cons, particularly E3, and there's been a growing consensus among like gamers and publishers of like gaming opinion article stuff. Like a lot of what am I thinking of? I'm drawing a blank on the
on the show.
No, it's E3, but I'm drawing a blank on like a publisher. Anyway,
like Aspire or something like
that. Not Game World. Not important.
Okay.
Anyway, the general consensus among people that were attending E3 is that it started to get too big for its britches. And as companies that were participating in it started all having to jockey for press at the event and all having to do releases of their thing at the thing, it was always getting stepped on.
Yeah.
So people like Apple, some game publishers as well as game houses just started not participating.
Yeah.
With the advent of social media as well as really good community management, a lot of the companies that are no longer participating in these conventions are essentially like, well, we can release whatever we want to release with the fanfare that we want to on our own schedule outside of E3, so we don't get stepped on by, so the Xbox doesn't get stepped on by the new PlayStation, or your new Call of Duty doesn't get stepped on by your new Battlefield. Like, Activision will just be like, well, fucking, we aren't going to go to E3. We'll just have our own.
It's problematic.
We'll do it digitally
when you start getting lost in the noise of a show,
right?
Yeah, and we're pretty. I mean, we're pretty known in the AV world. I mean, so the company I work for is AJ Video, and we have a very large booth. We show very well. We have products that people want. So we have press events, and we have we'll do like a big press breakfast where we literally bus people in and like feed them breakfast and do a thing for them, and then take them back. We do like a big reseller meeting where we rent out space at the hotel next to the convention center, and it is full of people, and it's probably holds a few hundred people, easily a couple hundred people.
Right.
And it's full. It's standing room only every time I've ever been in it. I mean, so we tend to be on the top of the pile as far as when we have announcements. Some of the smaller companies sort of get like muddled over, but we tend to do pretty well when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, these types of, I don't know if I've seen something this widespread in my time.
No, never.
But it's interesting to see as we run into some of the things that were really popular in my 20s and teens, like in how to get out a message for your product on these conventions and large conglomerate get-togethers are now, it's like the telecommuting version of publicity. It's like, well, if you could do it on Twitter, or you can find a way to do it in a digital presentation, or you can have a really good like crowdsourced augmented reality kind of like tie-in to get people into your thing. It's like the new way. So and when you have something like this come along where you have to start like manually pulling levers and unplugging stuff because contagion,
it's
it's
so
one of those things where it's like you gonna have to learn fast. Like how do we, as a business, how do you maintain profitability in a space that's dominated by pressing the flesh?
Well, I mean, to be honest, like trade shows are kind of old school. They're literally
That's what I'm saying.
There's soapbox people standing on the soapbox yelling at the. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's pressing the flesh. It's getting people in the booth to look at stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, that's what people, especially people in our industry, they're accustomed to that. They go to the show.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it's a real thing. That thing, I see it right there, and it works. And that kind of does what we want.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting.
We had a really offline probably last week when we were talking about how you guys had pulled out of the show. I'm like, to be a fly in the wall of whoever runs the marketing and your analytics of how this will play out for the company as far as what it looks like down the road in how much the show plays a part in your guys' sale.
Oh, yeah.
Your marketability and what you pull in and whether or not it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Is your digital presentation going to bridge a gap? How do you measure that? Do they have stuff in place for that? I'm very curious to see how it all shakes out.
Well, it's sort of the understanding, I think, for us that the money that we spend on the show is best spent because that brings the most interested parties to the table. Mm-hmm. Other shows are smaller, and they do that to a smaller extent, but the NAB show is the show that we sort of rely on, so it's really interesting to see now that thing's not there.
Right.
I mean, it's not there for everybody,
right. And that's a catalyst too.
Yeah.
I mean, if you as a company, or you could just be agnostic of AJA specifically, if you could say, this is a catalyst for us to figure out a way, what do we need to do going forward to make sure that we have a sustainability and advertising option outside a convention. How do we make sure that we retain our existing clientele that wants to press the flesh, but maybe is evolving out of that, and we're starting to get a slightly younger demographic that's okay with not necessarily having to travel, but still wants a way to get a view of your products. Do we have a team that can make something that figures out how to evolve from A to B?
Well, there's always been like the weird slow transition. It was like we used to hand out data sheets on everything.
Yeah.
And then that turned into CDs with PDFs, right?
Right.
I mean, all right, now it's in a digital form. Instead of just getting one data sheet, now I've got all of them on a disc.
Now you just put a QR code on a website and just
we don't even do
that.
We just be like, it's on the website. You know, go to the website.
Go to the website.
If you want more info, you can go to the website. So there's been a slow, and it's happened over the number of years that I've worked there, but it's a slow transition for sure of getting away from that old school kind of thing where we don't need to print all this paper, and give it away and have extra left over after the show or whatever it is, or run out of stuff maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
We don't have to burn CDs and give them out. We have badge scanners in the booth, and people will scan your badge, and you'll just get crap sent to you in email.
Yeah.
Or you can just go to the website.
And we're seeing this too, right, with the schools. I could take like a slightly outlier story, funny haha story. So I've been telling you how I've been helping Piper with physics, and most of their stuff has moved from physical books to an online classroom with online digital media.
Right.
There's no books in anything. The drawback to that, which I have found, is that that's nice as far as outsourcing curriculum and being able to pull in more. The teacher's not just bound by one book and one set of course materials. They can pull nationally, digitally,
and
whatever they
also,
want.
it's a cost-saving measure, too, because now you're not dealing with physical books, and you're not bound with some edition that's old already by the time you get it.
Right. The drawback that I've seen is that in trying to pull up lessons for me to parse, to dump, and to then regurgitate to her, is that a lot of the media that she gets that's part of her assignment is already out there with answer keys. You do not have to be a fucking black hat, white hat hacker to find that her homework in a PDF is done by some other school district, doesn't even have to be outside California, with the answers keys already posted. Or kids are just taking pictures of their homework and then posting them online with the exact same. So it's like we're there, but the people that are implementing this aren't necessarily thinking about the actual implications of, well, yes, everything's digital, and so now we don't have the things. But it's so much more convenient because we're not wasting materials without realizing that the students are savvy enough that they're putting the same assignments out for people to download.
Yeah.
So, and two, relative to the conventions and whatnot, AJ specifically, if the SAC states and the state and the universities who are cutting over to a digital curriculum in the wake of this, if it is more cost effective for these giant universities to actually do this, and they see cost savings, are students not to be expected to have lower tuitions? What happens to the jobs of facilities people? Do they need this much real estate on a campus? Like, it gets real fast.
This got brought up because some Melanie's paying rent down there.
Right.
Well, what are you paying rent for when you're taking your classes online?
Right.
I mean, you could take those anywhere. You can be in Florida, for fuck's sake.
Right. It gets
yeah, well,
peculiar real fast.
We're paying a lot of rent.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty sure I can get you a Chromebook and you can come home.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. But the thing is she's got a lease, right? 'Cause she's in an apartment.
Right.
So, I mean...
Right. It gets...
Yeah.
That's
there tough.
Are bizarre, like...
Yeah, ramifications.
Cascade. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, these are all the things that, like, in the short term, like, when we start hearing it, because all this stuff is dropping in the last 48 hours.
Yeah,
crazy
a lot
enough.
of it is, yeah.
And it's like, well, what about, I mean, we're paying rent.
And we got most of our citizens concerned about fucking toilet paper.
People are fighting over toilet paper at Costco and everywhere else.
This tells you how boned we are as a society, that in the face of potential disaster, toilet paper.
I made the comment that I'm just a casual toilet paper user.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for me?
Right. You know
what
the
I mean?
hand sanitizer missing. The people confused about how long to wash their hands.
Well, I get the fact that we're sold out of Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. I get that.
Yeah.
But fucking toilet paper?
Well, I am confused.
Toilet paper.
By...
They call this the toilet paper virus.
Like what? How quick it took people to be confused by, like, the whole washing hands thing.
I wash my hands every day.
Right. But in our current society where everything is shared and posted and put on a fucking Facebook or a blog or a vlog or YouTube or whatever, the concept of, hey, are you washing your hands? What? What? Well, listen, an easy way to just cut this off at the nub is to just be making sure that you're, adopting clean hygiene standards. Well, like, what is that? Well, fucking wash your hands. Well, I just kind of rinse it. Do you lather? Sometimes I just don't even...
Let's talk about that for a
God.
second. Previous job was working in the IT group and would go in the bathroom and do my thing, and I'd be in the stall, and someone would come in and sit in the stall next to me, and I could tell by the shoes who it was. It was the IT manager. I knew his shoes. He's got giant feet, and I knew his shoes because I've seen him.
You motherfucking clown.
That guy would fucking take a shit.
Oh, boy.
Stick his hand up in his fucking crease and clean it with toilet paper.
Well, okay.
And then beat feet out of the bathroom without washing his hands. This happened on several occasions. I don't know, maybe our cycles were mixed. You know, you know how women always get their cycles?
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe we had that going on. I don't know. But that happened several times. I'd be in there, he would come in, take a shit, and leave without washing his hands. That dude had his fucking hand up in his crease.
No.
And then left without washing his hands, bro. Okay, so what is that guy doing now?
Hopefully he's got coronavirus. And he's dying.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck? So, anyway.
I get because I looked it up, like, why are people doing this? It's like one of those cascade things, but it's in our nature to, like, in the face of...
Now, you looked up why are people doing what? Buying toilet paper?
Why are people hoarding toilet paper? It's like it's an instinctual thing to, what's the what's the least I can do as far as like prepping? It's a prepper thing. So
what's the least? I guess I can buy some toilet paper.
I can get food, and what's like an amenity that I can overcompensate for. It's like, well, everyone wants to be able to wipe their ass. I mean, who knows what they did in medieval with the straw and whatnot, but as long as I have toilet paper, I'm civilized. I'm civilized. Okay.
We are not in the 1800s.
Right. And plus what you see is, the shots of going back a week and a half ago of like the shots of the things with the hand sanitizers missing and whatnot, the tissues or whatever. And I was explaining it to Piper. I'm like, all you need is one shot of one person who maybe it was like their 6-month trip to Costco or something that had a large pallet of toilet paper.
Or they could be buying for a business.
Right. And that subconsciously you pick up on that and it's like, I see that the coronavirus is coming and the hand sanitizer is gone. That guy's got a lot of shit paper back there.
Oh my God, I should probably do that.
You know what? I should probably get a lot of toilet paper. And so you do. And so someone sees you with a cart with like, well, that's not 2 rolls. That's 5 rolls. You know what?
And they don't have a big ass.
And just in case, you know what? Someone down the street that worked at Davis is on self-quarantine. Boy, if I was on home quarantine, I couldn't leave, toilet paper.
Yeah.
I can't get hand sanitizer, but I can get toilet paper.
Yeah.
And so you just have this like cascade of like, well, I can buy toilet. There's no toilet paper shortage.
No.
But we can.
Except the fact that people are buying it out.
Right. So, it's like a Ouroboros snake thing. It's like you're just feeding it to feed it. If you just stopped and realized if you don't have any food, you ain't shitting anyway.
My asshole dried up.
Yeah. Well, I don't even need the paper.
Yeah.
I can't even work like Argonaut and the homie who didn't know what a can opener was. Like some of these people.
Well, he also said, which I thought was funny, I got a bidet.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean,
I got a garden hose.
Yeah.
That's close enough. Push comes to shove. Hey.
Yeah, turn the pressure up real good.
Hit me.
Hit me with the cold water right where I sphincter.
It's just some of these people. It's like, you know what? When it comes, please just leave your front door unlocked because I'm coming in to get your shit.
When you pass out from lack of food and you haven't used your toilet paper because you haven't been able to eat, we'll just be coming and
I'm going to see you dead, like in your kitchen, trying to figure out what a manual can opener does. Like, and it's got dents on the top of a can of tuna, and you're just like,
you can have my can of tuna.
Yeah, rig it out and be like, damn.
When you can pry it from my cold dead hands.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, but I bet that looked good on Facebook right before you posted that.
Now, see, I'm just looking at this as a weight loss opportunity.
What?
Just not having any food. I'm like, well, there goes the diet.
Yeah. I cut out 15 pounds on the coronavirus diet. Jesus.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is.
These people, I'm concerned, Yeah,
I know. I mean, we were kind of talking about this before the show, and I did the math, okay? Yeah. And this was last week. I haven't done it on any updated figures, but as of last week, there were 100-ish thousand people that had been affected by it. Mm-hmm. And there was about 3,500 or so people that had died. There's 7 billion people on this planet. The percentage of people that have had it compared to the number of people was like 0.041 or something like that. Not even 0.1%.
Yeah.
Right, of the global population has had it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at that compared the same percentage but of people who have died compared to the population was 0.00004%. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's very low. And I mean, I get that people are dying, but most of the people that are dying, most of them are older folks.
Right. I think that's what's scary. Like, especially when you see that Italy is essentially closed off.
Yeah.
And as of this evening, we are closing off to Europe minus the UK.
Starting Friday?
Starting Friday.
Yeah.
As an announcement as of this evening.
I mean, if you're in
and then we're closed
France
off
and you need to come home, you better get a flight
yeah,
because you're not going to make it.
yeah.
Or
So
rent an
it's
apartment.
and you see some of the struggles. I think Angie had posted something or had sent something across, which I had read. It was that they're facing severe struggles with the certain age bracket that is most hurt or impacted by the virus.
Yeah.
And that same age bracket is also like a large well that was you because I don't have springs.
That was
a
definitely
large
me.
contingent of the population.
Yeah.
And so they're running into these problems in Italy with not enough doctors, not enough beds. The hospitals are all packed, and it propagates.
Well,
like it exponentially.
Well, they have to
working.
start vetting people on whether or not they should be going to the hospital now or something. There's
It's like they're like triaging, like whether or not you're worth the hassle. Like your age bracket, the resources.
They're even going that far.
Yeah.
Huh? Wow.
Like some of the nurses are like, we're posting. It's very like, how old are you?
How did Italy get so hard hit by all this? That's crazy.
I think it had to do. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with the virus's potency in a certain age bracket.
Oh, and there's a lot of that age bracket.
However their target zero worked, it was.
We got a boot full of old people.
Yeah, boot full of old people.
Sorry.
Seattle and Washington are certainly have theirs, but they're also like a tourist input hub as well. And then you get that with some of the retirement communities and hospice homes, where it sounded like you had. That's where it kind of dumped into after like a coming abroad. It's like, man.
I mean,
and now we're
scary.
just starting to get the testing ramped up. So it's like, the numbers that have probably been artificially low because testing hasn't been as available.
Well,
now you're getting the tests out there.
Here's the part where you're kind of critical of our own government because it doesn't feel. It feels like all of the things that are happening in our society of cancellations and proactiveness are happening because individual companies or people have made decisions based on the information that they have, not because the government has tried to say, look, this is what we need to do.
Right.
Or this is how we're going to tackle this. Or there's no real information coming out of our federal government.
I would say.
Or even our local governments.
It's been
really
inconsistent.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem, I think.
Yeah.
Because we've been here for quite some time, and we just had, as of this evening's press thing on C-SPAN, like a complete flip-flop as far as how serious it was supposed to be taken.
There was Trump going, well, I mean, just go to work. And it's like, that's not going to work. To a certain extent, no.
Yeah.
You don't just, there are people who get paid to be professional in this area, and you are not speaking for them.
Yeah,
You're not doing them any favors.
It's hard to get cohesive, singular message from the people that you would need to expect it from.
Yeah.
And that has been a hindrance.
Yeah.
You're looking to leaders for, where do I go from here? What do I do? What's my part? How do I make sure that I can get my flu shot and not kill the herd?
Well,
and when you're being given a mixed message of it's a hoax or it's nothing to worry about, and then you go about your day and you deal with a lot of international, handshakings. The shit gets crazy real fast.
Well, the more that I think about stuff like this, I think about something like people die. I don't know. We should probably look it up. There's a probably insane figure of people who die in car accidents every year.
Yes.
Insane figure, right?
Right.
There's probably an insane figure for the number of people who kill themselves every year.
Yes.
And I'm sure both of those numbers far exceeds what's going on right now with coronavirus.
Yes.
And we seem to do far less for those than we're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all in perspective, I think, to a certain extent. But when all of your media outlets push this thing at you all the time and that's all you hear about. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. We're talking about it at length.
Right.
Because there's so many unknowns about it. It's kind of compelling to talk about.
Right.
But we're not ever on here talking about suicide and car accidents. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think part of that has to do with you understand, we understand the severity and where and what you can do when it comes to mental health, suicide, car accidents, your safety in a car, what you to do in those situations, and the things that you can manipulate to a degree that are within your control to give you the best possible outcomes or to help someone in those outcomes.
Yeah.
When you're faced with something that's an unknown and you have this expectation, well, I know what to do about alcoholism. I know what to do with leukemia. I know what to do when I get the flu. I should be getting a flu shot. I know what chicken pox. I know drunk driving, smoking tobacco, all of the things that you have like understandings of. And then when something comes along, you're like, well, these are all simple. What, you tell me what to do for all these other things. You tell me what I need to be on the lookout for. And here's something that's close, but it seems to have its own way of going about it. What do you want me to do? How do I handle this? And everybody shits the bed in front of you. I think that is news. That's news.
I think they're similar. I think something like car accidents is very similar to a virus. There are things you can do to mitigate your exposure to the virus and picking up the virus and getting sick by it. There are also things that you can do to avoid getting in car accidents.
Right.
The main thing is pay attention when you're driving. Don't be on your phone. Your job as a driver is to command the vehicle and pay attention to what you're fucking doing.
Right.
That's the same thing as being responsible with your own health and contracting or trying to avoid contracting a virus.
But when people have to be told to be cognizant of washing their hands, I think, right?
No, I know.
It's like,
I think it's weird because we have to talk about this a lot, where it seems like we're talking about this a lot, but I wash my hands every fucking day.
Right. Apparently some people don't. That's what's so
crazy.
Bizarre. But, I'm going to get a fucking tweet about Kanye's Tilted Stage and how many people at those shows are not washing their hands, or it's a concept completely unforeign to them?
Yeah.
Or the kids at school who are, went abroad and swap phones, or and they don't wash their hands, or aren't coughing into their elbows, or who the
I mean, I bought
crazy.
A couple of months ago. I bought Clorox wipes to take to work because there weren't any at the office, and I use those to wipe down all my tabletops, my keyboards, my mice. All that stuff gets cleaned maybe about once a week with Clorox wipes. I've been doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks, before the coronavirus was a thing. Well, there weren't any Clorox wipes at the office. That's why I bought my own and brought them in, right? Well, guess what? Now there's hand sanitizer around.
Yeah.
And
is it over 60% alcohol?
And wipes. I didn't look.
If it's not over 60%, it's.
But don't throw those away because they can refill them with the big jugs. But anyway,
yeah.
But I just think it's funny. Now we're faced with a thing. This is something I've been doing for weeks or months, and now all of a sudden, the hand sanitizer and the Clorox wipes show up at the office. You know what I mean? And I'm like, but I had to bring my own.
Right.
Yeah. It's weird. You wash your fucking hands.
But the fact that it wasn't at the office should tell you how much of a meh.
surprise it is
Yeah,
for everyone.
for everyone else.
Surprise! There's a virus. Ah, shit!
What do we do?
Oh, let's cancel everything.
What's in Jim's cube?
Yeah, no shit.
He's got Clorox
Oh.
shit. Put that on the grocery list.
Jim's got Clorox wipes. Go get it. Go get the can. Use them.
Did you see the?
I don't know.
The tweet about the Tito's vodka. That was
No.
okay.
Wait, is something bad happen to Tito's?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay. Oh, you use the Tito's to clean
yeah.
shit?
So there was something that started out in Texas, like how to, because the hand sanitizers were on short supply or sold out.
Okay.
Someone was passing around a valid recipe on how to make your own hand sanitizers with Tito's vodka and aloe vera gel,
Okay.
and how it would help prevent.
But Tito's isn't...
Right.
The right
it has to be
kind-
60% alcohol.
Yeah.
So then the Tito's community manager on their Twitter feed, or it might have been Twitter and Instagram, had to then hey,
Back that one down.
it's a valid recipe and it really works, except in order to kill the coronavirus or kill most viruses, in this instance specifically, it has to be 6% alcohol, and Tito's is not it.
Because if it was,
But we encourage
you'd be really fucked up drinking
but
it.
we encourage you to get yourself some Tito's. I mean, it was fucking.
That's pretty... Well, you know what's funny is now that we're talking about that recipe, Algie, the guy that used to work at my office that retired and moved to Mexico, he says that he made his own by using isopropyl alcohol and aloe vera. He just mixed his own with a specific scent in it so it smelled good.
Yeah.
And that's what he uses for his hand scent. He made it himself.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it's
Yeah.
60%, you're
But it's aloe vera with
an alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol. Yeah.
And some sort of
I mean,
lovely scent.
could you use what's the moonshine?
Everclear?
Yeah. What's the percentage of alcohol in that stuff?
If it's 100 proof, it's 50%.
Oh, that's right. So not
So
quite
no,
enough.
I think Everclear's only 100.
Is Everclear the highest level?
No, I'm sure there's something higher. I think I have.
White lightning or something?
Yeah. I think I've got.
I
think my highest proof in the house is 110, like a rye that's 110.
Wouldn't that be 55%?
Yeah, so it's not. I
so
don't
it needs
have.
to be 60, right?
I don't have a booze to do it with.
Hey, you just use that with a flamethrower.
And if I had a booze that it's probably really expensive and I fucking wouldn't use it as hand sanitizer, I'd be like, well, I've got it. I'm getting drunk on the hot stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
Because, damn.
That's funny. Well, okay, we don't have to talk about coronavirus anymore.
You got about 15 minutes.
All right, so I got something interesting. I saw a video today. So Marques Brownlee?
Marques Brownlee.
Yeah, that guy. He had a video that he posted, and I watched it this morning. It was very interesting.
Is it the Escobar?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you
Go
see
ahead.
it?
Keep going. Yes, I saw it, so I know what you're talking about.
So he did a video, and he was talking about this Escobar phone.
Right.
And so he ordered one, and it was a folding phone. He was like, oh, and I want that,
Yeah.
And he's intrigued by the fact that it's Pablo Escobar's brother,
right?
And so he ordered it. I think it was $350.
The Colombian drug lord.
Yeah, Pablo.
Former.
Yeah. So he ordered one. It was like $350, and he never got it. And he was like, okay,
right.
Which, shit, if I spent $350 and didn't get it, I'd be pissed, and I'd be going to my credit card company or whatever.
Right.
Anyway.
He's got Oprah money.
Yeah. So then he sees that they have another one that's the Fold 2. I think it's the phone's called the Fold. Escobar Fold, and then they came out with the Escobar Fold 2. Right. So he's like, oh, and he placed an order for that. And he doesn't see that phone either. And then I don't know. He tweeted something about how he ordered both of the phones and never seen.
Because I think some people were, some reviewers and content creators
were starting to get them or something.
Yeah, right.
So he made a tweet about how he'd never seen one, and then he said that day or the next day, one showed up at his house.
Right.
And he opens up the package and he's looking at it and he goes, "What the heck?" And it turns out it's a Samsung folding phone. What's that? What's the
Galaxy Fold?
The Galaxy Fold with a foil sticker on it.
Yeah.
That it says Escobar Fold 2.
With the mugshot wallpaper.
Yeah,
some
with
bullshit.
mugshot wallpaper of Pablo Escobar. And that he peeled the sticker off the back and it actually literally says Samsung. I just thought that was fucking hilarious.
God,
What
that
are
someone thinks that they're going to pull that off.
What are they? I mean,
Please don't send your money.
Well, he basically said, don't order this.
Yeah.
If you're going to get one, just get the Samsung, because he goes, there's no way in hell I'm going to be putting my SIM card in one of these phones, because who knows what's on it.
Oh, hell no.
I mean, it's got to be loaded with some phone home shit. You know what it is.
Well, they already have your. Well, I mean, they've got his digital shit.
Like his
They've got your
address and
numbers.
stuff? Well, I mean, I
if there's anyone that would be like, we promise not to sell your identities or your personal information to any vendor. It's like, fucking, you're done. Those guys are selling it. I guarantee you they're selling it.
They don't have any quarrel
No.
with doing whatever it is illegal.
No.
Because drug traffickers.
Yeah.
I mean,
we got to launder some money, so we're going to buy a bunch of yeah, so that was the thing too. He's like, only reviewers seemed like they were getting them.
Yeah.
For $400 and something bucks, but it's an $1,800 phone.
I don't understand that. How are they selling it for that cheap? I mean, is it missing some features or something?
No, I think that's why they're not. Most commoners are not getting this phone
because it's not a real thing. They're just It sounds like it's like
taking a whole bunch of deposits.
Well,
and they're in Colombia.
Yeah,
they're
I think
fucking walking away with that money.
Well, I think part of it's that, and I think the other part of it is to it's a branding thing. Like, oh, well, we're gonna send you to our website so you'll order some shit off of it, and we'll get some money.
Could be that too. There was a whole bunch of boobies and whatnot on the page.
Yeah, well, you can buy like T-shirts and shit if you go to I think Escobar. I didn't go there myself because I was afraid.
I would not go to that website.
Well, I mean,
not on a personal device.
Maybe in
a
private tab or something.
Yeah, incognito.
Yeah.
On a Starbucks Wi-Fi on my agnostic phone.
Turn on like 3 VPNs deep and then go.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, but I just thought that was fascinating. Like, he's just like, yeah, don't buy this thing.
Don't do this.
They're not going to probably send you one, so don't buy it.
Yeah.
They're going to take your money and you'll never get anything.
Right.
Fascinating.
Yeah. That business model still works. It's like, why? How are people this naive?
Well, what I didn't understand was, okay, so they're branding it as their own phone, but they're selling a Galaxy phone, a Galaxy Fold, as their own phone, which retails for $1,500.
Yeah.
How is it even possible that they could even sell it at $400? Is that just part of the ruse?
It wouldn't be making money. It's probably
they would have had to have lost money on that.
Oh yeah,
if they were actually selling
it's
them
not
for real.
laundering money. I mean, you see that in real estate all the time. We have a president who's allegedly famous for doing that with real estate in Florida.
True.
Where you bought it at X and you paid way too much, or you sell it and then you transfer it back. If you've got dirty money and you need to, well, don't talk to me about Wells Fargo knowing that, but. Yeah, I have taken training, so money laundering. But
I'm just disturbed at how easily you seem to know how this works. You're just like, oh, you need to. Yeah, I got you hooked up.
You go to a casino.
I mean, I have to
play poker.
Oh
no!
I have to watch Saul Goodman to figure out how to launder money. I don't even know.
You get 50%
I'm like,
return.
I put it in the dryer. What do I do with it now?
Yeah, just hang it up on the clothesline with your panties.
Well.
Hey.
They're silk.
Yeah.
You can't put them in
right next to all the other toilet paper.
They'll just unravel, and then I'm left with just a patch over my junk.
Like an eye patch?
Yeah. A one-eye patch. Not a sleep mask.
God.
So, anyway, I thought that was super interesting.
It was, yeah. I saw that, too, because I saw his tweet.
Yeah.
And it was kind of...
Is this name Marques? Marques Brownlee, okay.
Yeah. And I was like, what is this about? Like, interesting review or something. And I'm like, all right. And I had missed it, but I saw the tweet, and then it got buried so fast on my timeline with coronavirus and Democratic primaries and whatnot. But it was like, why? What was he talking about? What was that? So I had to go back and catch it on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
That's what it was. It was because it caught my eye because his tweet and the picture, the thumbnail, was him with the phone with the gold foiled wrapping, like halfway peeled down, and like little shards. And it was something like the thing you need to know about the Escobar phone. And I'm like, was it something about the gold foil? Like, what's going on there?
Does it fall apart?
Yeah, is it real gold or is it fake gold and they're advertising it as gold? But I had lost it in my timeline. I ended up having to go search for it on YouTube. And he delivered. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Well, the other interesting thing was the couple of people who had marketing videos that they were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Were people that were on that website where
Cameo.
Where you can buy their time, or is it Cameo?
Yeah, I think it is.
You can buy you can pay them to say $100 or $200 or whatever it is,
it's
to
like,
say anything.
It's like Fiverr for like personalities.
Yeah.
And I know about it because I also follow Jewel State, who was on some Stargate and Firefly Serenity. So she's a fan.
I don't know who it is.
Anyway. Trust me, she's good. She's good people.
I should know.
You should know.
Okay. I'll take that under
She was put onto it by somebody, and it was essentially, you pay like a small fee, and they'll read like a
script.
Hi, this is Jewel State from Firefly and Stargate Atlantis. Just wishing you, the Lord Fu, a happy birthday. And then it's like $30. I don't fucking know, but. And that's how he had advertising. Like it was the guy that would find the pedophiles that himself got busted for something, and some Swedish chick was like, check out the new Escobar phone. It's so good. Nice you tried. It's #1. All right.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember who was
Chris
that?
Hansen.
Chris Hansen, yes.
What did he get busted for?
Was it a prison?
Is it a prison?
I don't know.
I can't remember. But you remember what he was famous for, right? The whole To Catch a Predator. The guys that he would show up and be like, "Yeah, did you know she was 18 or 13?" I don't know what you're talking about. Well, here she's,
Yeah.
He would do the stings and catch the pedos.
That's who I was trying to remember what his name is. Chris Hansen. Wait, he didn't get in trouble for anything, did
I thought he did.
He did?
Yeah.
Chris Hansen?
He got busted for something.
He looks really old in this video. I have it pulled up right now.
Yeah, he didn't look like the Chris Hansen I remember from the stings that he would do.
No.
I can't remember what broadcast.
He got old.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was really interesting, and I laughed.
He's like, they probably don't know what they're pitching. They're just cashing in. And the two people that, it's like, I've never heard of the Swedish lady.
Well, the Chris Hansen one, he was like, you can see him reading the text. Which I think is funny.
Anything for $30, huh, Chris?
He's hard up.
Yeah.
For sure.
Probably. Because I don't think he can do... That's going to bug me.
I mean, he wasn't on the Today Show, so...
Yeah. God damn it. What did he get? Look it up. Chris Hansen, charged with, or Chris Hansen arrested. And please tell me it wasn't child pornography.
Chris Hansen arrested?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest.
Okay, well, arrested over bounced checks.
Oh yeah, fraudulent.
$13,000 in bounced checks.
That's what it was.
That's all it was?
Yeah.
That's like...
But that ended him.
That's like slap on the wrist shit.
Well, yeah, and who uses checks anymore?
People who are trying to scam people.
Yeah. I feel sorry for when my kids get old enough to they have to write a check for some sort of school function thing.
Yeah.
Because both my kids' handwriting sucks ass.
That's the problem with keyboard culture.
Yeah. Do either of your kids have good handwriting?
No. Well, Melanie's not terrible, but Chandler's not very good.
Yeah. My son's handwriting looks like chicken scratch, and I don't know if my daughter's is all that much better.
Well,
as coming from someone that I took drafting in high school and had to learn penmanship as part of, our curriculum. Yeah. They still have it, but it's like a condensed widget. Like, when I want to handwrite something... I have a skill set because I took drafting that teaches you proper lettering.
Right.
So there's a penmanship it'll take me a bit to write it, rewrite it, but I'll get you something that looks
decent,
yeah, and nice. To have that kind of thing, like Xander, write me a pen pal letter to one of your friends, and I'll mail it to, or write me a thank you letter to Grandma or something.
Yeah,
and it looks like a ham-fisted.
Well, cursive has gone the way of the dodo bird for sure.
Oh yeah,
I mean, if you looked at like any of your grandparents' letters where they were sending shit to each other, it was all cursive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And nobody uses really cursive anymore.
Mm-mm.
Unless you're kind of old school. I don't write in cursive. It seems like it would be faster because you never have to lift the pen or whatever. But
I keep enough like hand notes. I have like a hybrid. I have like a butchered cursive and print.
I think for me, it's like just depends on how quick I'm going. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If I'm writing real fast, it's going to look like shit. But if I take my time and actually write it, it'll look okay. Whatever.
Anyway, where we're talking about? Oh, checks. Yeah. Like
how you're
trying to.
Your
body.
body.
And I remember that too. The first time I had to write a check. So speaking of checks, I did one of those, which is banned now. I was at Chico State, like first or second day there, and there was some Wells Fargo rep that was like, "Open up a free checking account."
Oh yeah.
Walked on campus like, all right, here are some checks, and here's your account, and good to go. I think I put like $100 or something in the account just to start it.
Yeah.
And then I went to the student bookstore to buy some of my books, and I had a checkbook that I had never written a check in.
Yeah.
And I butchered, it was like $78 in books or something.
Yeah.
And it was a couple of words, and it was in like something cents.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I clobbered the fuck out of that check. And it was just like, and then I got nervous because I was getting anxious because I'm standing in front of this person who was just like, I fuck bitches.
Yeah.
Watching this nerd. And
Yeah.
it was just like,
I don't know what I'm doing.
First check, it was absolute butcher.
That's hilarious.
So, and I can write, but at that point, I was a nervous.
So I had a situation where I had an old car that needed to be repaired. And I took it in and had it worked on. And this was at the dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $2,000 repair. It was expensive.
Yeah. THOUSAND. How am I going to fit this all?
No,
in
it's
one
not
line?
that. So what happened was when he told me how much it was going to be, I knew it was going to be it was a whole thing. It was $200 more than I expected.
Okay.
So when I went to go pick up the car, I was like, this is $200 more than I'm expecting. What's the deal with that? And it turned into this big deal where I had ended up leaving my car there. Like they wouldn't let me have it because I didn't pay for the repair yet, kind of thing.
Right.
So anyway, I got, I don't know, whoever it was that deals with the state car stuff. I got them involved, and it was a whole big deal. And so finally it's like, I got to get my car because I'm renting a car, right?
Right.
So I go in, and the total was actually $2,200. So when I write the check, I write on accident. I didn't do this on purpose. I write the numbers in the thing for the total.
Okay.
But where you write it down,
okay,
I wrote 2,000 and whatever, not the 2,200.
Okay.
So when they cashed the check, they couldn't cash it for the 2,200. They could only cash it for the 2,000 and whatever, which was totally an accident. I just don't write that many checks, so it's like I just missed the 200 part.
Right.
And they take the check. The chick that takes the check, she didn't even bat an eye. She took the check, no problem. So my bill has now been paid. I get the keys and I leave. Well, I end up later on talking to
that's funny.
Whoever it is at what's the car, the state car thing that deals with all the service centers.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm drawing a blank.
Can't think of what they're called. But anyway, I talked to that guy because I had filed a complaint with them about their price, what they did.
Right.
And and we talked for a bit on the phone, and then he goes, "Oh, by the way, are you gonna pay the rest of your bill with them?" And what are you talking about? Well, when you wrote the check, and he tells me what I did, and I go, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go take care of that." And then when I hang up the phone, I'm like, fuck that. Fuck
Wow.
those guys. So I'm probably my fucking pictures up on their wall or some shit. As an asshole
changer.
deadbeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the amount of money we were squabbling over the final bill. Because he quoted me one thing on the phone when I got there was $200 more.
Right.
And I could never really prove that with whoever the state automotive thing was.
Yeah. The arbitrator.
Yeah, whoever that was.
Yeah.
And so they took their side, of course. And he's like, well, and he kind of explained that, and that was that part of that conversation. But it was just kind of funny because writing that check, I just fucked it up without thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not knowing that, like, if I fucked up the written part, they wouldn't be able to take it for the total amount.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Anyway, funny little story.
So if you'd have written 2,200 in the cursive line, but 2,000 in the box,
then I think they can take the total amount.
okay.
Yeah.
The number.
That they have to. Well, maybe it's a
Really?
matching thing.
Yeah.
But because the written part didn't match the thing, they had to take the lower amount.
The lowest of whatever's posted.
Yeah.
That would seem fair.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that I had done it. I mean, it probably looked like I did it on purpose.
3D chess, bitches. Well done. Well done.
I'll probably get popped now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Whoops.
it's out there. Shit.
Yeah. Your first name is Jim. Last name Williamson.
Jim Bilson.
Yeah. Bilson. Yeah. We're at time. I have a quickie story because
Okay.
we were talking about a ways back my daughter figuring out a system, like trying to her homework, spreading her homework. Ran into a thing with my son this evening. He was playing Fortnite with one of his friends from school.
Yeah.
And they're his friend's little brother. I went in, go to the bathroom, and he's playing in the bedroom. Come out of the bathroom, washing my hands. Come out of the bathroom, and I just happened to catch. They win.
Okay.
And he's excited, high fives all around.
Right.
And then he goes, "Yeah, but," and it turns out his friend's little brother is playing on a mobile device. So what they're doing is because his little brother is playing on a mobile device, the opponents that they're playing are mostly pooled from mobile, and he's playing on an Xbox, and his buddy is playing on an Xbox. So they're essentially like clobbering people on phones, and he's like, "It's awesome because we're winning."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, but your opponents are like."
You're playing up on people.
Yeah, you're like punching the retards, just the foam helmets, and he's like, "Yeah, but we won. We won twice." And I
That's
went,
hilarious.
well, yeah, context there, son. But anyway,
I mean, shoot, I have a quick one, real too.
Go.
Over the weekend, we went to Sacramento. Chandler's in the back of the car with his iPad Pro,
okay,
his Xbox controller, and his hotspot playing Fortnite in the back seat of the car
nice.
while we're driving to Sacramento and back. He's back there yelling, and
Did he win?
I don't know if he won or not, but I just thought that, I mean, technology, fucking,
That's
that's
crazy. Yeah.
And that thing runs at 120 frames a second. It's smooth as shit. I was totally blown away how good the iPad Pro
Did
plays
he
for
buy?
me.
Because he didn't have a Xbox controller with Bluetooth.
I think he borrowed one
Did
from
he?
somebody. Yeah.
So he's got one.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see. It's cool to see that that's working.
Yeah.
'Cause
It works well.
awesome.
Interesting.
If you have a iDevice, the Xbox controller, did the PS4s or the PlayStation controllers work too?
I don't know about PlayStation. I think I don't know. I just know that he does it with an Xbox controller. So
Anyway. Well, hey, we're there.
all right.
We are at time.
Great. Well, hey, thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate it, and hopefully less coronavirus next week.
Yeah. Thanks for having us in your ear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wash your hands.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you also.
You.
Oh.
You're number one.
Hugs.
Hugs.
All right.
And now I'm going to sanitize.
Now we got to go wash up.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
We'll catch you next week.